I'm gonna burn a little sage here, kind of my ritual that I do whenever I meditate. So I'm just sharing that with you guys. And then I thought I would go into some stories of how I actually got into meditation, it started a long time ago. But I have some incense burning, just in case you guys feel called to get some of your own incense. Natural incense, I can recommend a few things, and some sage, and then I also burn what's called Palo Santo. This is a wood that's from South America, and a lot of shamans use this, so they recommend it. And then I've got some tea. My throat's a little dry today, so I'm gonna drink some tea. I'm playing a little Indian flute music, meditation music. Hopefully it's low enough in the volume so I don't have an issue with the Facebook music rights issue, but I will also add this under the live video. I want to post this in the comments so you guys have this beautiful music. It's amazing. I love the flute, and I like to have music in my life. I really enjoy having a soundtrack, whatever I'm doing. It's just kind of something that I've had as a part of my life for a very long time. So music is really important to me, and I love it. I love walking to music, running, dancing, cleaning, you name it. And meditating, oftentimes I'll listen to some soft, soothing music, but it's also great to have the silence when you're meditating. So my first time meditating, I actually stumbled upon a tape back in the days of tapes. You guys, a few of you I know what I'm talking about. And my parents had it actually in the 80s. They had this meditation, guided visualization meditation in the 80s. And I tried it out after a pretty intense experience of being at a summer camp, dance camp, where I wanted to get into what was called the performance group, where you had to audition to get in this performance group. And it was for a ballet performance class, and I went to the dancers that were actually conducting the audition. They were from New York City Ballet, and I went and asked them if it was okay that I just showed up with my soft shoes. In ballet you have toe shoes that are really hard. It's what the dancers use. They have a wood casing, and the dancers can be up on point. If anyone, I'm sure some of you have seen that, where you can go up on point. And my point shoes were a little small, and I didn't want to use them. I wanted to actually come to the audition using soft shoes, and they actually discouraged me from going to the audition. They said, you know, you look like a jazz dancer anyway. Why don't you just not bother coming? Like, they told me not to audition at all. And at the time, yes, I had a black big ponytail coming out at the top of my hair, tons of hair. I didn't have the demure look of a ballet dancer with a bun. I wasn't wearing pink tights or like a black leotard. I was in all black. I looked a little gothish for a dancer, I would say. My ballet shoes were even black. I was wearing a lot of black and a lot of layers. And I was crushed. I actually drove home crying about it. And but something switched in me. I don't know. I got home and I found this meditation tape, which is really strange, but I put it in and I listened to the meditation. And why I'm prefacing this story is because I'm going to share the meditation with you guys today. But when I did it, I laid down, listened to the tape, and it was all about doing a guided visualization where you go up your feet, you visualize your feet, and you imagine water going up through your feet, so to speak, like as if you're stepping into a bath of water, and the water's just rising up higher and higher up through your skin, your legs, knees, chest, and so forth. And by the time I got to my head with doing that visualization, I started spinning. I kept opening my eyes because I thought I was actually spinning. Physically, it was that profound. And I realized, no, I'm laying here, nothing's happening, nothing's moving. And then the minute I closed my eyes, my body felt like it was spinning again. So it was as if somehow I was feeling the Earth's rotation or the spin that happens in our cells, maybe. I'm not quite sure, but it was a really profound physical experience. But it also grounded me. I know that it created a very grounding, centered state. And I got up from that meditation and I just decided, you know what? I am going to go to that audition. I'm going to wear the pink ballet shoes, the pink tights, the black leotard, which is very formal approach. I'm going to put my hair in a bun and I'm just going to show up and give it my best. So I went to the audition and they told me I could do it out of the gate. I had no problem with memorization. I had no problem with execution. I could feel the other girls start to really notice me in the audition, but I was just hyper focused, and I know it had everything to do with that meditation practice that I did. I mean, there's no doubt in my mind that gave me the groundedness and the focus. And yeah, I had been dancing for a long time, so I had the skill, but I was able to focus to the point that not only did I get into the group, the performance group, that was kind of an elite group out of this, dance camp of hundreds of girls, but I won the lead role in the whole performance. And that was after them telling me not to even come to the audition. And I'm just so grateful that I actually found that tape in that moment, that day when I was really crushed, and pulled back my power, pulled back my confidence, and centered myself, and then played the part. I put on the costumes so that I could blend in and look like an authentic ballet dancer. And then even later, a little bit more to that story, they talked to me about becoming a professional dancer later, and there was some complications to that, so that I didn't follow that. But that was my first time meditating, and that was when I was 15 years old. So I've been meditating for a very long time, and some of you may be open-minded to this. I'm not sure. I'll talk about this another time, but I feel like I've also lived many lives, past lives in different places. So I resonate a lot with ancient healing practices and wisdom, the Himalayas, a lot of the Tibetan monks that are up there meditating and practicing ancient practices to open our third eye, which is why I decided to wear this hat. This is a dear friend of mine's creation. She made this, and this is a third eye hat. And again, why do we meditate? We meditate to enhance our third eye, our extrasensory perception. We meditate to ground ourselves and be very centered and very calm. So a few other examples of people noticing my energy, like I've walked into yoga studios where they've commented on how calming my energy is. Thank you, Sherry. Yeah, so I appreciate that. One of the best compliments that I've ever get is when people tell me that my energy is calming to them and grounding, and it relaxes them. I've even gotten job offers without having to give them my resume or my experience. It's just my energy when I walk into a place, and something about the other person calms down and relaxes, and they trust me. I've had a lot of people ask me to house sit, hand me their keys. These are things that, because I do a lot of work on myself. I've meditated for many years, but the deeper practices that I've done in the last 10 years have been what's called silent retreats, 10-day silent retreats. So if anyone is curious about that, or I'd love to know if anyone else has gone to silent meditation retreats of any kind. I've done 2 different kinds. So the first one I did here in Washington in 2011 was a Zen meditation retreat. So it was very formal. We did walking meditations, but we were sitting all day for roughly 10 days meditating. in silence, and we couldn't talk to one another. There were other people there, and we were all eating together, but we weren't really supposed to look at each other in the eyes either. It was an internal process. So you go inside, and that was my first time doing that deep of a meditation for that long, with the Zen style. Now, Zen style is where you just kind of, you let your thoughts come in and go out, and you let them go, and you can use a candle to focus on, and it's not really a guided visualization meditation like what I've been sharing is more active, which I'm sharing these introductory practices because they're easier to do when you're not an experienced meditator. The Zen meditations or silent meditations where you're just trying to not really focus on any one thing, those take some time and practice because our minds can go all over the place. I mean, I encourage you guys, if you haven't done much meditation, try just sitting and meditating and watch your thoughts. You know, where are your thoughts going, and how often you can go off into the future. Like, maybe check in, are you thinking about the future, or are you thinking about the past? And how can you bring yourself into thinking about the moment, which oftentimes is really just focusing on your breath. But you can get into a zone where you're not thinking about anything. It's like a void. And again, it takes time to get there. I was teaching a dear friend some meditation practices earlier today and yesterday, and he was really struggling because he's going through a really hard time in his life. And so his mind was all over the place, and I could see it, I could feel, you know, his struggle. But I encouraged him to just keep, you know, sitting every day and practicing every day, because the more you do it daily, especially, the more your mind will calm down, and the more you'll feel relaxed, and you'll notice it in your you know, when you're out in the world, walking around and interacting with people, you won't be as triggered as you normally were or in the past. Like, if some of you can, you know, have people or situations in your lives where you get triggered. I know that for me personally, meditation has helped dramatically for being able to be more or less reactive, more present, and take space and time to really think about, you know, I can't say I'm perfect all the time. Certainly there are moments where I lose it, but it's rare. And I think that I can attribute that a lot to meditation. So the second time that I did the 10-day silent meditation was a Vipassana retreat. Now, Vipassana is a very specific style of meditation, and that's what I'm excited about sharing with you today. Just a little taste of it, because I feel like it's really powerful. And I was supposed to go to a 10-day Vipassana, which would have been my 5th time going, which is kind of crazy. I didn't realize I had reached number 5. But I was planning on doing it over Christmas. I was pretty excited. There was a waiting list. I got in, but then they canceled it because of COVID. And, you know, unfortunately I couldn't go. So I did some other things, but, every time I meditate, I get reminded of why I love it so much and why I know I need to do it more, especially out in nature. If you can find a quiet, peaceful place in your home, I encourage everybody to create a sacred space that you can meditate regularly in. Like you treat it as, this is my meditation zone. I'm going to make it really cozy, you know, a nice pillow to sit on, or a wool rug or sheepskin. You know, wool transmits energy. So Kundalini Yoga encourages people to sit on sheepskin and wool as they meditate. Silk clothing is also great to wear. White is, it amplifies your auric field. So those are some things that you can incorporate in your meditation practice. And if you have a space, you can, you know, bring in crystals and incense and different little items that have a lot of symbolism to you. I'm looking at my little altar here that I've created for my desk, which I always have fresh flowers. So I bought these today, and I usually have flowers at my altar. I call it an altar, you know, it's just, I have this globe that I shared last week, you know, because I think a lot about the earth and wanting to send healing energy to the planet. And my crystals, I have this stone here that says trust on it, which, you know, I think is really a powerful word to stay in trust when you are living your life, and just know that everything is fine, everything's going to work out. You know, everything is here to help us. That's a phrase that I really love. It's a book that was written by one of my dear friends, Matt Kahn. If anyone knows who Matt Kahn is, he's a very dear friend. He has a lot of YouTube videos and books. Everything is here to help us. I just gifted that to a friend yesterday. And yeah, so I have a few of these things at my altar space. So if you can find a place that you can meditate regularly, the nice thing about doing meditation in the same place every day is it amplifies the energy in that area. And the only way that you can believe what I'm sharing is try it yourself. So I know it may sound a little out there, but if you do it, yeah, Matt is awesome. So he and I have known each other for 10 years. I met him early on in his, when he started doing lives, and had a private with him when he was still doing that. And then we just got to be better and better friends. And because he was living in Seattle, but he's moved to Oregon now. So anyway, but the Vipassana retreat, the 10-day Vipassana retreat that I went to a couple months after I did the Zen meditation retreat. So both of them were 10-day silent retreats, very, very different dynamic. But the second one was way more powerful. It was very, I guess the first one I noticed that my psychic awareness kicked in, because I was picking up on things about people without talking to them. And I even remember thinking to myself, there was this little figurine that was it's a bodhisattva called Jizo, a little image. I wish I had an example to share with you, but it's in storage. But Jizo represents the saint, if you will, but it's more of a bodhisattva, of travelers and children. So this particular retreat that I went to, they had all these Jizo, J-I-Z-O figurines out in the garden, and people would come and actually pray for their lost animals, you know, the animals that had died, or their children that had died, and they would pick a figurine and kind of put necklaces around them and offer gifts to some of whatever figurine that they connected to in honor of the life and the death of their beloved child or animal. But he does also protect travelers. So I really resonated with the Jizo, and I have a sculpture now that I love. And but I was seeing this figurine there, and I was thinking, wow, I really would love to have one of those. And what was crazy is the last day of the retreat, I put my foot in my shoe, and there was something in my shoe. And mind you, I had not talked to anyone there, right? This is all in silence. So I put my foot in my shoe, and there's something in there. Well, guess what it was? It was the little tiny Jizo figurine that I'd been looking at all week, wishing I had. So someone there, another meditator, telepathically picked up on my request, my wish, and that was very profound. And so I do know the more you meditate, the more psychic and intuitive you will become, hence the symbolism of the third eye hat I've got on. So fast forward to the Vipassana retreat that I went to, and then we'll get to meditating, but I want to share this story too. So I did this much more intensive practice where you're sitting and you're scanning your body starting with your head, the top of your head, and slowly visualizing and trying to feel a sensation as you're going down your body. So it was similar to what I did back in high school, not knowing what I was doing, but this was every day we were guided on how to do it by a man named Goenka. They had audio recordings of him sharing the teachings, and then we would watch videos of him. He's passed on, so he's no longer alive, but we were able to listen to his teachings that have been saved over the years and be able to do this teaching that is supposedly the original meditation technique of the Buddha, the enlightened Buddha. So going into that practice, I was having very profound dreams. My dream time was incredible, which I'm not going to go into all the dream stories, but just to say that they were really profound, very powerful and cathartic and healing. And then I was also feeling energy lift from my body, which is also difficult to describe, but I will say it felt like there were pain points in my body that were coming up, and it felt like swords were being literally pulled out of my body in different places where there was pain from, an energy or a wound, like an energetic wound. If someone, verbally abuses you or physically abuses you, these energies go into our organs, into different areas of our body. And this particular meditation technique, for me, the way that I was able to drop in and do it, so I think so well. I didn't have a lot of pain in my body in the initial sense because I had done so much yoga, which is why I want to make a special point of why doing yoga and stretching out is so important to prep your body for meditation. Hi, Betty, welcome. So again, back in India, why they recommend and encourage yoga is really to prep your body for meditation, because the more flexible and limber you are, the longer you can sit in meditation, the deeper you can go into a meditative practice without having pain. Your knees aren't gonna hurt, your back isn't gonna hurt, your shoulder, whatever. So this is why to have an open, free, flexible body really sets the stage for a deeper meditation practice. So I've been doing yoga and dance for a very long time, to where I could go into these long 10-day retreats sitting for 8 hours a day and not feel as much pain as a lot of other people. I could see other people squirming and moving and trying to shift their pillows in different positions because of how much pain they were in. So that I knew that was a real distraction for them to be able to do the actual practice. But if you can get to a point, building up to 5 minutes of pain-free meditation, then 10 minutes of pain-free meditation, even if it's sitting in a chair, the most important thing is to have your spine straight so the energy can flow through your spine. And you want to, change positions and figure out what position you can sit in. And then, of course, do as much stretching beforehand so that you can sit for a longer and longer period of time without feeling pain. So I was able to do that. But then what happened from doing the scanning technique is when the deeper pain, the emotional pain that was inside my body that I wasn't even aware of, was coming out, and it was lifting and leaving. I even felt like a knot in my throat. It felt like a bubble, like an actual physical bubble that just went up through my throat, and it felt like it kind of popped out my ear, which sounds crazy, but I was just in awe of the process throughout the whole week of how much pain was leaving. And I knew it was emotional pain, but it was leaving my body, just lifting up and going away, like disappearing from this body scanning technique. And then like towards the end of that week, I was going out in nature a lot, and I was hugging trees, touching trees, walking the land, just finding comfort and connecting to this beautiful forested area. There were deer everywhere. This is in a place called Onalaska, Washington, here in I'm in northern Washington, but it's in southern Washington. And it's an incredible Vipassana retreat. I highly recommend it. If you feel called, I can give you more information when it opens up again. And you have to apply way early. There's a huge waiting list usually, so it's a good idea to apply right when they open the application process up. But back to the trees. So I found these 2 trees that I really loved, and I put my hands on the trees as I was standing between them, and I could feel the vibration of the trees. Now, I know that it was because of how still my body was from that much meditation, going that deep in that practice. And there are times that I can feel vibrations and other times that I can't. And it has everything to do with how busy is my mind, how stimulated is my nervous system versus how calm and relaxed is my body, right? So the more our body is relaxed and centered, grounded, like I said, and calm, which can happen from spending a lot of time in nature, spending more time with yourself, quiet time. This is a way to relax the body to the point that you can be more sensitive, and again, back to more pick up on things about people in a psychic, very highly intuitive way. So that's why I encourage people to meditate. It's a way to be more aware, more awake, and then of course not be so triggered when people may say things to you or do things to you, so to speak, that don't feel very loving or kind. It's you can not react, but actually speak back to them in an assertive way, sharing your truth from a heart-centered place, which I think we all would love to do 100% of the time, right? So I encourage all of you to meditate. This is why I'm taking my time to do a little bit every Monday of talking about it and sharing different techniques, hoping that whatever you grab onto that can work for you, whether it's a breathing technique or a visualization technique or a sound healing, you know, that it lands and you get inspired to do it on a regular basis, because I know that if everybody in the world meditated, we would have a more peaceful place on the planet. Let's just say that, and a more awake place. So I'm drinking some hibiscus tea, and I think let's get going. Does anyone have any questions while we're here? I know there's a few of you here, so I just wanted to share a little bit of my background with meditation. I could talk a lot more about that, but yeah, I just wanted to go into that. So I have my crystal bowl here again. I'm gonna ring this to kind of clear the energy of the space. Do that 3 times. So find yourself in a relaxed place. Like to join me with this meditation? And as long as you're as comfortable as possible, you can rest your hands in your lap. I like to hold my hands, like I cup my hands, one inside the other, and then I bring my thumbs together like this and just rest them in my lap. I'm sitting in a chair this time. So that's one position that I really resonate with. You know, sometimes I'll hold this and put them on my knees if I'm sitting cross-legged on the floor or on the ground. I'll do this with my hands on my knees with the palms facing up. But right now I'm gonna do this posture with my hands centered in my lap, and I'm gonna lead you, but I'll ask you guys to gently close your eyes so that you can go inward, and if you feel called, you can focus on your third eye briefly, just bringing attention to the center of your brain where the pituitary and the pineal gland are. Bringing attention there helps activate that area. I like to encourage people to bring light there. So seeing a flash of white light or golden light, and my favorite, the iridescent rainbow light. So all colors including some gold and silver, platinum elements into the third eye center of your brain. And this brings energy to it and kind of helps wake it up if it's a little congested, which, yeah, it's just important to kind of give it some intention. So we get that little activated. Now from there, we're going to, with our eyes closed, this is a visualization of the body scanning technique, a version of it anyway. And just bring your attention to the top of your skull, the top, very tippy top of your head, and see if you can feel any kind of sensation there by bringing your mind or your focus, your intention there. And if you do this a lot, you'll start feeling more and more sensation where you bring the attention. But usually the first few times or so, you may not feel much, but just keep trying. But for now, this is just how you do it. So bringing from there, travel down, so you're at the center of your head. Now visualize and connect and just intend. You know, you don't have to necessarily see anything, but just kind of try to scan your hairline and the top of your head as if it's honey. You can imagine like golden honey just being poured, warm maybe, being poured down over your head. If that helps you feel something as you're connecting to the entire top of your head, and now this around the sides of your skull, your hair follicles, traveling down to focusing on your ears, in your entire ear area, and at the same time your forehead, eyebrows, eyeballs, eyes. Now, and normally you would go a lot slower, but for time's sake, I just want to give you a chance to know the process. So you're scanning your eyes and bringing your attention now to your entire face, the nose, if you feel sensation anywhere, great, that's awesome. But keep on moving, going to your cheeks and your lips, your chin, traveling down to your jaw. You can even move your face a little bit if you feel like it's tight or holding any tension. We often hold a lot of tension in our jaws, which the jaws are actually connected to the hip area, which is another area people hold tension. So traveling down to your neck and giving attention to your entire neck, the back, the sides, the front of your neck. And then keep on going down to the collarbone, the side, the shoulders, the front of the chest, all the way down the front of the body. We'll focus on the front of the body first, the chest, the stomach, and now bring your energy to your shoulders and slowly go down your arms, both at the same time if possible. Down to your elbows, bringing attention to your elbows, your forearms, your wrists, and your hands. Just sit with that for a little bit. How much can you tune in to your arms, your hands, your chest, your the front of your body. If you feel any sensations anywhere that we've gone so far, might be very, very subtle. You might be feeling pain somewhere. Just don't judge it or try to push it away. Just acknowledge it. Maybe send some love to anywhere in your body that might be needing some healing. Then we'll focus on the back. So the upper back, the shoulder blades, the spine, down the center of the back, slowly going down the spine, the mid back, and the lower back. And then the hips, focus on the hips, the sides of the hips, the front of the hips, even in the genital area. Bringing your intention there, focus there. And where you're sitting, if you're sitting, which I'm assuming you are, you'll probably be able to feel this easier because you can feel the pressure from your chair or your pillow against your buttocks and underneath of your thighs, where your legs are touching your chair or the ground. So that's a good way to really tune into sensation in your body. It's actually feeling your connection to the ground or the chair. Now slowly going down your legs to where you're sensing the entire area of your thighs, the muscles there, and then your knees, reaching your knees. If you have any sensation in your knee, pain, just send it some love. You can also send it some light. It's very powerful. This practice is very, very powerful. Simple, but powerful. So keep on going down the legs, the calf area, the shins, now reaching the ankles and the heel of your foot, the arch of your foot, as well as the top of your foot, and now your toes. Just settle into that, the energy of your feet, and intending that your feet really ground you to this earth, this planet, also known as Gaia, this water planet that we live on. Feel your connection to this earth. Okay, well, we did that completely. I'm gonna do one more little thing here. Imagine that you have roots coming out of your feet, the center of your feet, or growing roots that are gonna go down through the floor of your house. And imagine them going through all the layers of the house, the cement, the foundation, into the dirt, through all the roots under the house, the rocks, the dirt, and just going faster and faster and deeper, all the way into the center of this planet, connecting you to the core of the planet. We can imagine it's where the heart of the planet is, the source of all all of the energy of this particular planet exists, and we're connecting to that with the roots of our feet, the energetic roots of our feet. And I'd like to encourage you to visualize it being a green emerald color, or gold, whatever you prefer. It could be both, gold and green emerald swirling in the center of this earth. And just a soothing energy where you're connecting to that energy. Now imagine that color coming up through the roots that we just sent down from our feet. Imagine that color climbing back up through those roots, climbing higher and higher through the roots, reaching you and filling your feet with that golden or emerald green. I'm going to choose emerald green for myself color, climbing up through the feet and quickly inside the body now, visualizing that energy, that color filling up your feet, filling up your ankles, your calves, climbing up the legs, filling up the knees, the upper leg area, the hips, just seeing it climb higher and higher and filling all of the organs and the muscles and the bone tissue, the sexual organs, the intestines, turning that into that color of your choice, filling up all the organs, the lungs, the heart, which there's an association of green to the heart chakra, is known as either being a green color or a pink color. So filling up your breast tissue, your shoulders, now going into your arms, filling your arms with that color, and then your hands, your neck, your face, your eyes, your ears, your brain, and the crown of your head. And then imagine that color coming out through the center of the top of your head and kind of like a spray, I guess, or like a fountain coming out energetically and just going out in every direction, falling out around your entire body like a shower surrounding you and recycling back up through your feet, up through your body, up through your core, your intestine, and up and out the crown. Try to do that 3 times. Visualizing that. So again, we're strengthening the auric field and the connection to this planet, our connection to the earth. Beautiful. Okay. So now you're filled with more light, you're more sensitive, you're more grounded and connected. If you feel called to keep meditating, if you have the time to just sit still and focus on your breath, I encourage you to do so. But I'm going to leave you now with that being our full completed meditation tonight. I went a little longer today because I was talking so much, but I just want to thank you for being here and watching this and giving it a try. If you'd like to go back, this will be recorded, obviously, so you can have this guided meditation again and again for this week if you'd like to use it. And sending you so much love. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Mwah. Much love to you. Blessings.